Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. Rsvp. Please reply. Respond. Many invitations have them tucked away in a corner somewhere near the bottom. It's going to be a festive occasion, a wonderful celebration, a moment to share, an event not to be missed. If you're on the guest list, there's only one thing to do. RSVP. Please reply. Respond. Well, we made it. This week we've been looking at the nativity stories in each of the four Gospels, and we're finally to Luke, to the story we're most familiar with. Here is the overcrowded inn, the stable, the manger, the shepherds, the angels. Our eyes twinkle like the stars must have on that night, shining with wonder and joy. Perhaps many of us even wish somewhere deep inside that we could have been there. We wish perhaps that we were in that inn and witnessed the baby. Or maybe that we were one of those shepherds who saw the angels and hurried to Bethlehem. It was a festive occasion, a wonderful celebration, a moment to be shared, an event not to be missed. We wish we had somehow been on that guest list and received an invitation. And if we had, there's no doubt about our RSVP. Now here's an interesting thing. When you read the nativity story in Luke, it reads a bit like a guest list for the event. Included, too, is how the invitees RSVP'd, not with their attendance, but how they responded to the birth of God with us. The first person invited was Augustus. Luke begins the part about Jesus' birth by putting us in the midst of an historical setting. This happened at this time, he tells us, when Caesar Augustus declared a census for all the world. But Augustus is mentioned for more reasons than just to tell us when it happened. His real name was Octavian, but the Roman Senate had declared him the August One, worthy of divine favor and human adulation. Luke seems to be telling us that not only does God work through this pagan emperor for God's purposes, but also that in a world with a ruler who pretends to be a god, the real God comes. But there's even more. By mentioning Augustus from the very beginning like this, Luke tells us that this birth has consequences far beyond Israel. This birth has consequences for the whole world. The next person on the guest list is King David. The Messiah was to be a descendant of David, and this was all happening in the city of David. But interestingly, Psalm 78 describes how in the very beginning David was taken from the sheepfold to rule over Israel. A sheepfold. That's exactly where Jesus is born. The angels are invited to the celebration, and this is one of my favorite parts. It just seems like God couldn't contain his joy at what was happening. He just had to tell someone what he was doing. And there were the shepherds, minding their own business, the ones who experienced that heavenly exuberance, the ones who went to Bethlehem, the first believers who praised God for what God had done in this child. Mary and Joseph are there too, faithful, trusting, and somewhat overwhelmed by the whole thing, amazed at the grace, amazed that God would work through them. And that's just what God always seems to do. God works through the weak and the lowly, working God's will when and where we least expect it. The poor, the blind, the deaf, the lame, they're invited too. They're invited because that's who this child comes for. The child comes to right the wrongs, to heal the broken. This birth is a gift of love. Then finally, there's one more person invited to see the Christ child. You. Gaze in wonder at this gift of grace. Rsvp. Please reply. Respond. He's born for you. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.